I mean, get that. Y'all, we are live. I'm so excited. Oh my God. My name is Dr. Traci Harrell, and this is Better Together. It's the Better Together and Living Powerfully experience. So we're here live on Rainier Avenue Radio, y'all. Community radio. How you like that, Bernard?
It's wonderful. Glad to be here.
So I am past president of the National Black MBA Association, Seattle chapter, and Bernard is our founding president. I am now president of an organization called It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting. And if anyone knows me in community, it's so much bigger than me, right? It is so much bigger than me. What we are doing is we're leading a series called the Better Together Empowerment Series. And I could not be more proud. Bernard, as you know, we just celebrated MLK's the 60th anniversary of MLK's March on Washington. That's what you see on the screen. It's called Dream Unfinished. Not a commemoration, but a continuation. How do you like that? Because we're continuing the dream.
That's
Why is it so
wonderful. I
important that
mean,
we continue
that
the
that
dream?
that um, that is definitely the work that all of us have a collective responsibility to make individual and collaborative contributions.
I love that. I love that so much. Individual and collaborative contributions. So this series is called the Better Together Empowerment Series because it's so much better when we do this work together. So we're inviting people to be a part of what Dream the King started. And then we also all have our own dreams about what it means to live powerfully. What does it mean to truly continue the dream? So I'm just curious, Bernard Walker, founder of the Seattle chapter of the National Black MBA Association, what does this idea of dream unfinished, when you hear that theme, what is that theme? What does that actually mean to you as relates to the next step and what you're going to do and how we're going to create a space to continue the dream?
Well, it means a lot of things. First of all, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to help this generation, as well as past generations, want to be aware of the dream, to know what is the vision and the mission of the dream, and how we should be able to experience in our lifetime. So that's very important. So there's, I guess, three elements for me: knowing, doing, and being. So, and most importantly, how do we occupy this dream?
Mm, wow. I love that. Tell me more about occupying the dream. Is that showing up? Is that what you mean by occupy?
So occupy means for it to be real to us, right? That we experience in our senses, right? That we can see it, feel it, or just as I described, we can be the dream, right? Made flesh. That we don't. Um, so a dream is something that we hope to happen in the future, right? But we have dreams, and then we set a vision, missions, and then strategies to actually accomplish the dream and to be the benefactors of that. So what does that mean? That should mean that after all these years, we should have the right to vote, and it should be secured and protected. However, we are in a continuing struggle, right, to be able to um, um, practice the right of voting without people putting obstacles in our path. We should be able to have decent housing, and to participate um, in our dreams and ambitions. And that is not where we are right now. We still have a lot of work to do. In fact, we are living this perpetual sliding um, what is that treadmill to try to uh, take back the rights that we thought we had won so many years ago.
Mm. Yes, I love that. I'm going to put something in the chat real quick. Oh, I see Harriet Walden. Yes. So I'm going to put something in the chat, y'all, because this is a call to action. We're inviting each of you. We just had an amazing experience. Oops, maybe that was too long. I'm going to have to cut that up. So we just had an amazing experience with a number of leaders, including people like Harriet Walden, Dr. Linda Smith from MLK Missionary Memorial Baptist Church. Eddie Rye was leading this community initiative focused on Dream Unfinished. And right now, what I'm saying is the dream, it's unfinished, but it's our responsibility to continue the dream. So I'm going to put here in the chat, it looks like that was a little bit too long, so I'll shorten it. I'm going to put in the chat what we can, oh no, it's actually there. I guess it works. So it's a link. I'm going to play this video real quick. It's basically asking each person to bring their voice forward. Bring your voice forward. I'm playing it right now. So here, let me put this here in the comments. Check it out, people. It's a simple 6-question survey. Check it out. This is a call to action. We are committed to continuing MLK's dream. Join us to leave a legacy.
We want to hear from you because the dream is unfinished.
We are honoring the 60th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington. Our theme is Dream Unfinished, not a commemoration, a continuation. What does that theme mean to you? Bring your voice forward to answer 6 simple questions in a video survey, just like this. We want to know things like, what are you going to do to continue the dream? And why is it better that we do this work together? Join us. This is a year-long community activation. It's intergenerational, it's intercultural, it's for everyone, because it's better when we do this work together. This is not just about a moment. This is a movement. Join us. I love that. What do you think about hearing other people's voices? Y'all, this is called a video survey. So literally when you click on the link that's in the chat, you're going to create an opportunity for not only for your voice to be heard, but we're building out an actual documentary because our children, they're rewriting history, y'all. So we need to make sure we're documenting what we know to be true about King, how he impacted us, how he showed up for each of us, but also what are we each going to do as we commit to continuing the dream. So I just wanted to make sure everyone has access to this video and access to really sharing your voice. What Eddie Rye did in this community is the kind of stuff the truth is we're lucky. Let's be clear. We're lucky that we still have living legends in Black history. People that showed up were Black Panther, that he's still here. So I say we're going to continue to celebrate people like Eddie Rye, continue to celebrate those that were there in the march. We have people that were with us that had marched with MLK. That generation is saying, guys, it ain't over. We have to continue this work. So the question to each person listening to my voice is, what are you going to do to continue the dream? What are we each going to do to continue the dream? Now, Bernard, the reason I was excited to have you here is because you know about the Black NBA. We're going to the national conference in Philly. So we'll be live. We'll be broadcasting live from Rainier Avenue Radio. I could not be more excited. Tony Ben, thank you very much. But I could not be more excited to be doing community radio, right? There's so many opportunities for each of us to truly create that mountaintop experience. A mountaintop experience is what King talked about. who's getting to the next level. So I'm gonna show another video here that really talks about some of the things that are required. I said we're going to the national conference. We're going to be driving change. Bernard, before I show the video, and I hopefully you can see which one I'm talking about, I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Come together. We have to look at the workplace as relational.
Okay, I'm going back.
What does success mean to me?
I'm going to pause. Okay. So do you remember this, Bernard? We did a series that was called Achieving Success in business and in life. We had a number of authors that joined us. This is one of them. Her name is Melissa Brown, and her book is called The Soul Surrender. And I brought in this conversation because we have to bring in a space, create a space where when diversity and inclusion impacts your success, it could be a success strategy all day. You can have all these success strategies, but when diversity and inclusion impacts your ability to be successful, then we have to pause and really focus on how do we release some of that energy, right? When people talk about diversity and inclusion, they talk about the negative things, unconscious bias, right? It sounds so mild and tame, but when you experience unconscious bias at the workplace, it could be devastating, traumatic, truly life-changing. I created a term called corporate chokeholds. You feel like you want to take yourself out as well as take everybody else out with you. So we're going to create a space where we allow soothing release of that situation, allow, a release of those feelings so that people can not only let go of the past, but really be present and powerful in the moment. What do you think about that?
I think that's important. And I think that also Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a phenomenal leader and made major contributions. I think that it's important for us to also put him in the context with the other leaders and who have contributed different ways that resulted in us getting this portfolio of human rights, civil rights, economic rights. So I think that sharing this information in a systematic way, so that the story is authentic and accurate, because one of the historic leaders, Napoleon, says that history is a fable agreed upon. History is a fable agreed upon. And why I mention that is because we have some people such as DeSantis and Trump, DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who is attempting to rewrite history so that the people of today will not have an accurate situation understanding, not to even mention analysis, to chart a path forward that benefits all of us, and that really would create a generation of passive receptors of oppression.
Say it again. Without the information, did you say we create a generation of what?
So in other words, we need to own our narrative and our story and not allow other people to spike the historical spiritual word of truth, right? Because that is what we have happening when we talk about the governor of Florida attempting to whitewash and distort the accuracy. I mean, the contributions where they don't want to mention Rosa Parks, her color and her purpose for sitting down and saying that all public services should be open to all people, right? So I could stop there for right now, but my point is that we must own our message because this is our I am identity, right? And that is our spiritual birthright given to us from God, given us to us from the creator of the universe.
Right.
And because that power loved us so much, it gave us the power to say, I am, right?
Yes.
Self-definition, right, of who we are. So we can't allow that. I mean, that is the ultimate mental freedom, spiritual freedom, right? That allows us to be able to demand and receive and use correctly all other freedoms.
Yes, I love that so much. And again, the reason why I was so excited. So Melissa's going to join us live this upcoming Thursday at 12 noon Pacific time, people. So Melissa's going to join us. This is a quick video. I just wanted you to get a glimpse of who we're talking about, who we're bringing in. And she's going to be a part of this series. She was like, Traci, I'm in. And the work that she does is so powerful. You'll get a little glimpse of it here, and then we'll talk about it. So y'all get ready. This was from a series that we did, again, part of this whole collective called Achieving Success. It was Achieving Success Mastermind. Achieving success both in business and in life. And the reason I have that National Black MBA Leaders of Tomorrow logo at the top is because we're going into high schools and colleges and working with professionals. Like my niece right now, Michela. She's had her own business, entrepreneur for about 20 some years. She started at 15 or less. I mean, she was just amazing. But she went into a corporate role. She got a bunch of certifications. She's getting her master's degree. She's getting her MBA right now. She's doing all this work. And she had a situation at work that was she was literally assaulted at work by some guy. And it was a situation. It was a second situation where she's now like questioning, her own value. She's questioning her own contributions, and that's what they cause you to do, right? When these situations occur, they're not just, they're not innocent, even if they call them unconscious bias. That sounds so mild, doesn't it? It could be truly traumatic. So we're going to talk a little bit about, check out this video with Melissa. And again, her book is called Soul Surrender. And this series we were working on was called Achieving Success in Business and in Life. This was what happens when diversity and inclusion impacts your success.
What does success mean to me? And I've been thinking about that because, of course, there are so many different answers that I could give. But one of the things that I came up with is success is when your personal values align with your public persona. When your personal values are in alignment with your public persona, which basically means that who you appear to be is who you actually are. It definitely made me think about what I say so often in the counseling and coaching space, which is, have you had a conversation? Because so often we are wounded and there's absolutely zero conversation about what happened, the who, what, when, and where, the information. And so, as he was speaking, like he said, there generally is a group of people who have information. Then there's another group that have the power to actually make the changes. And the two have to come together. We have to look at the workplace as relational, not transactional. It is a relationship. And, and I do recognize that takes the leadership to be able to see its employees as people and not just paper, just here pushing paper and trying to make more money and do all of that. And really what that becomes is a devaluing of us as people. And many of us, especially in our community, if you're already feeling devalued, it would be nothing for you to write down, because before we go into the cognitive, the wounds are from the neck down. And so I would just, as your sister, say, I am so sorry you had that experience. If no one else at that organization was able to say to you, you deserved more, you were worthy of a conversation, that you mattered, that the work you did, your contribution mattered, let me say to you, you matter.
Yes, you are loved here.
And I
What
would
this is
also
about.
say, I'm so proud of you for choosing you. Because so often, you're right, it's so easy not to. When we hear the stories, we're always so quick to say, I would leave that. I wouldn't put up with that. But, you don't know what you would do until you're in it. And the paycheck every 2 weeks is very seductive and attractive. The golden handcuffs can be really golden. And when you have a mortgage and we're still in the midst of a pandemic, and you have, depending on your home situation, whether you got kids in college or you have responsibilities. And so it's easy to say, I would just leave. But the level of courage and the level of love that it takes to be able to say, God, I believe there has to be more. And to trust in the abundance that this is not the only place, and that this is not my supply, this is not my resource, God is. And to just really see, because it's going to take some time when we're so quick to kind of like, well, what's next? And like I said, we are not meant to just have things piled up on us. And it's really important, Dr. Melissa, you said it correct, we assess ourselves, we're able to be insightful and reflective and able to say, okay, was this me? Was this? Or was, and just because we understand that an environment or even a person is toxic doesn't make it hurt less, whatever it is they acted out or projected onto us. And I think we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves time to grieve. There's already so many things, all the little microaggressions that, on a daily basis, you got to come home and kind of detox and have a mental shift to be able to know your worth in your home so that you're not, going off or snapping at people because somebody else disrespected you in the workspace and there was no place for you to say that hurt. And so it takes time, but I just want to say I'm so proud of you for choosing it, because a lot of us stay too long. Well, as I was sharing with Dr. Melissa and with all of you earlier, I think you first, before you can move on from anything, you got to be willing to identify, because you can't heal what you have not identified. And I think it's important to be specific in the thing. So if we say, oh, I just felt disrespected. Oh, I just felt taken advantage of. How? To begin to tell the story first to yourself, to be able to whether you write that down in a journal, to be able to kind of record it for yourself, because all of us at a core level, we just want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to know that we matter. And so when you give that time first to yourself, as opposed to just getting busy, because, we are a culture, that's a whole nother show, but we are a culture who numbs pain. And particularly for African American women, we just, take a licking and keep on ticking. And we just keep it moving and we keep it going. And it's almost like our wounds can easily become a badge of honor when really it's making us sick. As Dr. Melissa said, your blood pressure, the migraine headaches, the sleepless nights, the issues with fertility, all kinds of things that people are carrying that are stress related. And one other thing you said, Traci, that I wanted to go back to, like thinking about the assignment that you just happened to be sitting across from someone who was in distress. It's not an accident. It's a reason why God has planted you wherever you have been planted. Even though it may not be what you wanted, and that's that whole notion of surrender again. Can you surrender to something bigger than you, to something larger than you? Because you have no idea, you're just one piece of the puzzle. And to be able, us in ourselves, in our own community, to be inclusive. Because what if you had looked across your desk and said, oh, these young people, oh, they don't have coping skills. And, we really have to be honest with ourselves because relationships are a mirror. So a lot of what we experiencing is just reflective of what we do within ourselves. And, even as Bernard had said earlier, look how easily we can mislabel ourselves. Even though we have a great event, even though, you have the Black MBA, you have all of these resources now that were not available before. Are we leaning in, or do we have all these hidden rules and stories that keep us out and keep us on the margins? When the goal we're saying is to be inclusive, it has to start at home.
It was so much we got accomplished during that series. Wow. He's so cute. That was us.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, it brings back some very positive
Memories.
programming and sharing.
Right. So we're going to build on that. That's part of what this next series is about, right? Continuing the dream says, we can do more, we can do better, we can lovingly hold organizations. I'll say call them in. So hold them more accountable. My three favorites: action and accountability. So we're going to bring some additional awareness to challenges that we know exist. We're going to do it before going into conference, which is why I said, Melissa, we got to have you this week, because we want to create a space where people are able to really release some of what she said, we are often wounded and we don't take the time, right? Because we just go to the next job and then we take those wounds with us. But true freedom, the definition of living powerfully, is really about creating a space where those things that happen in our lives, like, we get to decide how they impact us and how we impact other people. So I couldn't be more grateful. I had a similar situation, and I couldn't be more grateful that I had people around me, some divine energy that helped me to see it was the best thing that could have ever happened, right? Best thing. And it's in the moment, part of this Living Powerfully series, I'm building on some scientifically proven research that combines the neuroscience of the brain. And we've talked about this mindset. We've talked about how we can create a new outcome through our minds. If we believe something's possible, or if we believe something's not possible, we're right, right? So this is called living powerfully through positive intelligence and transformational inclusive leadership. But positive intelligence is such an important part. There's a best-selling book called Positive Intelligence. There's some free training that we, as the National Black MBA Association, is going to put into the community. We're calling it the $100,000 community activation, right? The $100,000 Living Powerfully giveaway or grant, right? And it's going to be this Living Powerfully series around mindset. And it sets a stage for people to not only have higher performance, better relationships, less stress, better conflict resolution. Literally, it's about improving your performance in every aspect of your life. And it sounds like, really? Is it possible? It is. That is part of the dream. That's part of MLK's dream for his people. It's for us to be able to get to the mountaintop, and no matter what is happening around us, we get to thrive. We get to create a space where we get to thrive. Now, you watched that video with Melissa, and she talked about, us having a conversation, ensuring that we know we're worthy. How do you feel about what you saw in that one Dr. Melissa who had an experience at work that felt very dismissive and exclusive for her? What would you say to someone else who had a similar experience, and anything else you want to share about that?
Right. So, as a practitioner in this, I guess, conscious transformational change leader coaching space, right? There are three areas that we operate from. That's knowing, doing, and being. Knowing that the information you have, the knowledge that can make you feel competent in the work that you need to do. So then doing, there's how you execute, and then your being. And so the being addresses the point that you are discussing as mindset. So when people come together, right, we have this intersection or this smorgasbord of being kind of bouncing around, right? Some people's being may show up as unconscious bias, right? They may feel they're being their authentic self, and because of systemic racism and other things in which, say, gender wasn't considered or respected, right? Or certain races weren't understood or appreciated. So there may be dismissive language that is in the workplace that is someone's normal way of being, right? Um, um, and that, and others may historically, because of needing a job, right? Not wanting to be that angry woman, not wanting to be that so-called aggressive black male, we kind of fall back, right? And allow certain, I guess, passive aggressive like workplace environments to become the norm. And so now that more and more understanding and awareness of these systemic bias and quote unquote unconscious bias unchecked now has to be mitigated and more adaptive, just like we historically have to be adaptive to really unsafe work environments.
Right.
So how do we create positive work environments for all of us, right? And that requires change, right?
Yes.
And that change creates a new normal curve
New normal.
than what we
Yes.
currently have, right? We were raised primarily to assimilate to the white man's world, to put it in the vernacular that has been spoken in a number of different levels, from
Yes.
scholarly works to hip hop rap, such as, I think it's Tupac, right, that had the song "The White Man's World." So this is where we are. But the point I want to make is that we are now at a point in the development of these, I guess, practices, these disciplines, where being is really respected. It used to be considered, and in some places it may still be too so-called touchy-feely, right? Because how you show up is going to be
Right.
able to determine your level of performance.
I love.
One of the
Yes.
books here that I use, the Beyond Change Management, kind of as my coaching Bible, talks about that a person who may have, say, an 8 level of skill could outperform someone who has say a 10 level skill. Because if on any particular day, as we say in sports, on any given Sunday, since it's football season,
Mm-hmm.
if a person who is a more is a better performing athlete in general, has a mindset of, say, 0.6, right? 0.6 times 10 is that they would be operating at a 60% level, right? But if a person who is, say, at an 8 level could perform at 100% on that particular day, that person will win. Someone who might have, say, more
Right. I
talent
love it.
or skills.
I love it.
And that is one of the challenges that we face, because say we have the skills, and I would just want to add one other quick little point, but you're in a negative work environment that makes you that distracts you and prevents you, and you are not, say, in control of your being enough to be able to perform in spite of the challenges, or
Right.
better yet, not able to, or better yet, um, maybe having that powerful sense of being, you can speak to the problem and
Well,
and
yes.
help those other folks see why uh,
Yes.
their unconscious bias really reduces the performance of the whole team and the whole organization.
Yes, I
Um,
love that. I love that, Bernard. I love it 100%. Three of the things I heard you say, you talked about knowing, doing, and being, and a lot of
mhm,
what we are doing, it does. I think they say it's 20% of any long-term transformation is the knowing, right? It's really in you. A true transformation. A true transformation is the caterpillar that turns into a butterfly. They change at a DNA level. You can't go back.
mhm,
You can know something and still do something different. But when your being is transformed, then you can only do what you be, right? You can only be aligned.
mhm.
What you do is align with who you are. And so this work around positive intelligence, as you mentioned, you talked about intelligence, right? So you've heard of the term IQ. You've probably heard of the
Yeah.
term EQ for emotional
Mhm,
intelligence. PQ
mhm,
is somewhere in the middle. It's that beautiful intersection of information that we know and the EQ. It's the best of both and then some. It's a synergistic opportunity that says, how do you truly take what you know and take how you connect with other beings, right? Amplify that with the neuroscience, cognitive
mhm,
behavioral psychology, performance science, and positive psychology. Those are the four things that make it literally bulletproof. It's research based. It's scientifically proven. Over 1 million people have done it in over 50 countries. It is the mountaintop, not only mountaintop experience, but it is the roadmap for success to get to the mountaintop in everything we do. And that's really why I'm so passionate about it and why we're giving it away with this $100,000 giveaway through the National Black MBA Association Seattle chapter, is because we know the power, is because we're committed to continuing the dream, because we know that not only within individuals, but within organizations. I met, and you'll see a video, um, uh, I guess her new role is Chief Operations Officer for CBRE, which is an organization that does the real estate for Microsoft. That's one of the big clients.
commercial
And
real estate. Okay.
yeah, she's so amazing. So I'm not even gonna I'm gonna wait and bring her on, but a beautiful blonde girl. And when I met her, it was like during a time where I was working through some things, writing my next series of books. And I knew I had done some executive coaching with white executives who would say, we want A, B, or C. We want to create an inclusive culture. Our retention rates are super low, and we don't understand why. We're doing all these things, right? But it's still not where we want them to be. She was the first one that came in and said, we have a hole in the bucket issue. Meaning we're bringing them in and they leave as fast as we're bringing them out. We know that must have to do with our culture. She brought in a new diversity, equity, and inclusion person. I know he had a great experience. I've met people within CBRE randomly at the store, find out where they worked. I mentioned this lady's name, and they were like, "Oh, I know her." And I mentioned the diversity leader's name, and they were like, "Oh my God!" So we were talking about like how to bring this work forward. It has to be about organizations that are willing to truly drive change. So it's about individual leaders who decide they want to take accountability for the words that they say. You know how often you have leaders, we just saw someone talk about the situation, the wounds that happen when Black people experience unconscious bias or any other microaggressions or macroaggressions in the workplace, right? And now we have a space where we're inviting individuals to go to a national conference, to do their very best, right? To find their next gig. And yet some people are still wounded. And what we don't want is for them to take those wounds into the next role, right? We want them to be free. So we say, free your mind and the rest will follow. And so I'm excited about helping people to free their minds. I'm also excited about the youth. So I'm going to show a bit of another video real quick, and then we're going to respond to some of our youth. Are you ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not a commemoration, but a continuation. What do you think about that?
That we came such a far ways, and we came such a long ways, but I think that honestly means that there's still work that needs to be done, and that there's still work in this community that we still have to work on. So.
And that theme is really important to me, mainly because, like you said, we have definitely come a long way. There has been so many changes, especially in our government too. Like, we have a Black vice president, we had a Black president. We've had so many Black artists being put in the forefront. Like, we are finally getting some of the recognition that we deserve and that we need. Notice on the sum, there is still so much work that needs to be done, and we are still continuing to fight and to push the narrative that Black is excellence, and we're trying to get that in front of everyone, get in front of the world, get in front of our own communities, that Black is exceptional, and that we need to show that. And so the work is not done. I don't think it will be done, but I feel like the more we keep pushing, we will just get an inch closer and closer as time goes on.
How old are you?
I am 15.
15, y'all. How old are you?
I'm 18.
So my question to both of you is, why is it better that we do this work together? I know you're both part of a BSU, a Black Student Union. Talk about why it's better to do it together.
I think that overall we've seen in history that when we unify and come together, that we can make major change. From my perspective, especially in my school, I go to Lakeside, which is a kind of a smallish private school, and honestly, there's not really a lot of us, particularly like, there's not really a lot of Black students in there, and so often we try to like make change within the school. But then that's the reason why I love BSU so much, because it's us coming together and being able to make that change together, which makes me feel so much more comfortable in speaking out. And I believe that that same principle applies to the community, and it applies to everywhere, that when we unify together, we can make major change.
I believe that's better that we do this work together because yes, one person could try to start something, but it's very important that everyone tries to move forward with something. Like, a village can make change. One person can do a lot, but when you have multiple people with one purpose and that are driven to make change, that just creates a wave, and it's so much more powerful to make change, and it makes it a bit easier. And that's like you said in BSU, like when we work together on, for example, MLK presentations, it just makes it so much more powerful to see a group of people speaking about something that's important to them.
We're committed to continuing the dream. When you hear that, are you hopeful? And what does that mean to you?
Honestly, I'm a little scared. I am a little scared because I believe everyone is committed, but there's also a lot of struggles that come with being committed, and we face so many trials, and it becomes hard because change is never easy. The march wasn't easy. The civil rights movement wasn't easy. All these things aren't easy, and I'm scared that like our community, I believe in our community, but I am scared that those trials might derail us for a little bit, but I am confident that we will bounce back. I am confident that we will be able to overcome them, but I am scared for what those trials might unveil.
I agree. I do think that I am a little scared, a little anxious about the future. I know that recent events have taken place that have put especially the youth in danger. especially speaking on affirmative action, the ruling within that, thinking about college and our futures. But it does give me hope knowing that there are committed individuals who are helping to see us succeed and to help support us. So while I am scared for it, I am glad that we're able to unify and have more people come together to help us make that change.
What is Black brilliance, Black excellence? What does all that mean to you?
I believe Black excellence is something so beautiful and there's so many different forms, and we are amazing in all forms. We can be politicians, we can be musicians, we can be beauty gurus, we can be athletes. We are amazing in so many different ways, and there's so many different things that we can do, and I feel like that entire we are amazing is honestly just the perfect way to sum that up.
There's been so many empty promises that I've seen happen within this country. There's a couple poems that I write, but one is about the truth, and it's about we have to acknowledge the truth and acknowledge like these empty promises that we face throughout our time. So I think accountability and all three of those words definitely make me hopeful.
I think they go hand in hand. In order to take accountability, you need to have awareness, and after you have the awareness, you need to take action. So I believe that, like when you said, it makes me hopeful. As all those keywords makes me hopeful that change is coming. Change will come and change will come.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Wilmore, and this is my poem called Being Black in America that I wrote while I was in middle school in my personal development class about my identity. Being Black in America. Being Black in America, you're often looked at differently when they meet. Not for the content of your character, but still by the color of your skin. Being Black in America means you're athletic, not academic. Certainly a rapper, entertainer, or maybe even a thug, born and raised in the hood or the streets, or on the drugs. These are all stereotypes, because certainly we are much more than that. Being Black in America means you are amazing. You're smart, strong, creative, genius, inventors, and kind, full of an undeniable resilience, strength, and wisdom. What is true, African Americans in America must work harder, be smarter, be more, just to prosper, to succeed, thanking our ancestors who fought so hard for our freedom. When people ask, what school do you go to? I respond, Lakeside. But we respond, Washington, Aukie, Asa Mercer, South Shore, Rainier Beach, Garfield, Cleveland, Franklin, and more. And they say, oh, you must be smart. But we like them to continue. Oh, you must be smart, strong, creative, a genius, an inventor, and kind, full of an undeniable resilience, strength, and wisdom. I am African American, yet I have never been to Africa. This has changed recently, but I was born and raised.
You did go to Africa.
Did, yes. Yeah.
I liked it.
I continue. I was born and raised in America. Our history, our culture, our values, and our communities all make me proud, strong, and loud. Perceptions and misconceptions in America unfortunately cause misunderstandings, fear, trauma, and hate. Being Black in America, the experience is great. See, I believe the pen and the paper are the strongest weapons in America. They have the power to create policies, laws, opportunities, unity, peace, and love. But way too often, they've created poverty, division, lack of opportunities, destruction, and hate. Hate is rising in America now. That's fact. It is bold, unashamed, not afraid, unapologetic, ugly, and sad. Teaching Americans the importance of these crimes is truly something it lacks. As an African-American Black male teenager in America, I still have goals and dreams for myself. I want to become an Eagle Scout. I accomplished this one. Attend a great college, become a pilot, a professional athlete, potentially an aeronautical engineer, get married and have children of my own one day, and so much more. But being Black in America, I have to stay focused and remind myself that I belong, that I am smart, I am strong, I am creative, I am a genius, I am an inventor, and yes, I am forgiving and kind, full of an undeniable resilience, strength, and wisdom, because I am Black in America. And remember, that means we are amazing, 365 days, 24/7.
Are you done? This has been going on for far too long, and I thought we were done. Are you done? Hating our time for wanting better lives. Are you done yet? Killing us, hoping we won't fight. Are you done? treating us like we are beneath you. Since 1865, we thought we were free, but still, we are killed, hunted, and chased. Are you done taking the lives of poor mother sons? It seems racism still hasn't left the heart and mind of some, but we will fight for our rights and our lives until you are done.
Our theme.
Wow. What did you think about that? Right? Are you done?
Hey, yes, I love it. Just like David, you know, I'm encouraged.
Wow.
They have used their mind substance, their thinking substance to encourage themselves in spite of the adversity that we face. So I love it. I love it. I can say more, but I know that we're also short of time.
We are short on time. So this is Rainier Avenue Radio. So thank you to Rainier Avenue Radio. We are at the hour where they need to pay some bills, share some advertising. So we're going to end now, but join us on Mondays. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. Join us on Mondays at 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. We will be live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and 5 or 6 other things that they mentioned. YouTube, Facebook, my LinkedIn, the National Black MBA Association is sponsoring some of this work specifically related to the Better Together Empowerment Series. And I'm donating my time and energy for free because I know this is what I'm doing to help continue the dream. But thank you for joining us. We'll be broadcasting live from Philly next week, right?
Yep. Looking forward
Monday
to
at 6 o'clock.
Occupy the Dream.
Ooh, I love it. Thank y'all. Bye. More to come.